old business, which is new business, which is always business. Item number 1 of the evening, discussion on a proposed police contract, and we'll consider an appropriate motion for action. So I'm going to just kind of recap how we got to this moment tonight, if that's okay with everybody, before we get into discussion. Last Monday evening at our regular board meeting, the contract extension given by Chief and Chair Zaklinski to myself the week before was the exact same contract that is being serviced right now and that we all agreed to a year ago. Let's just state the facts. Some of us sat in different capacity a year ago when we voted on that. Trustee Dunham was not here, Trustee Todrick was not here, but that is the contract. I did have a post on social media. I do know a variety of people are not on social media, so I will try to recap quickly. I do not know how my redlined edit got into that packet. That is just the facts. I sent our clerk, who is not here tonight, the exact contract that Chief O'Neill sent to me and Chair Zaklinski sent to me. The exact same contract. The only person that saw the red lines are myself and our legal counsel, Todd Terry. The red lines obviously then made it somehow into the packet and somehow public for everybody to see. I will state right now, there is nothing wrong with any of those red lines. They're actually good. They make sense. I think on both ends the town would agree. There was just some updating that made sense. I told our council if those were just basic concerns, then they didn't need to be added at this time. Again, not exactly sure how that made it to the packet. It's not the first time something erroneous has made it to my packets. Our new and exciting village administrator is sitting in the back of this room tonight, and I anticipate this is not going to happen going forward, nor should it happen. I am hoping our new village administrator with myself and this board are going to address some of these issues that continue to happen and cause bigger issues like this that don't need to happen. I did say publicly in my statement, the buck stops with me. My error, my fault. I think that doesn't tend to happen a lot in governance, both at the local level, the state level, or the federal level, but I will admit I made a mistake and the wrong item got into the packet. And very evident by my phone and the looks I got in the community on Friday that there's a problem that made it in the packet. So I wanted to get that statement out. I hope everybody read that. It's factual, it's to the T. I again apologize for that being there, but that's where we're at. The contract you have in front of you, my fellow trustees tonight, is the contract, the exact contract that was given by Chief O'Neill and Chair Zaklinski. I also provided you the red line contract, so if there's any concern this week on any differences, on anything whatsoever, you can see them. Last week, moving on to now a little bit of the business here, last week you tasked me in a 5-2 vote to go back to Chair Zaklinski and ask for a 90-day extension of the current contract. Chair Zaklinski, being the man of the moment, that next day told me early on, he reached out early, 8 a.m., and said, I offered you a 6-month extension, not a 90-day extension. And I said, I understand, Chair Zaklinski, that that's not the way the meeting went. So I did what you guys asked me to do, the 5 of you, and I went back, and we are back here a week later with the exact same contract for 6 months. Now I will say, Trustee McReynolds' concerns are valid. There are many other concerns that are valid. And I know there's other concerns on the town side that are valid. The beauty of the process, even though it is slow in many eyes, is we are working on these and we are talking these things through. Chair Zaklinski and I are planning on bringing both boards together in the near future to have this conversation. We felt it was important to get this contract extension in place first, and then we move forward with that meeting. It is also a difficult time of year, not an excuse at all, but it's a difficult time of year to gather 2 boards together, work around vacations, work around people's schedules. But I'm very confident these Board of Trustees and the town supervisors will do their best to make sure we can all get together at some day to discuss this, someday very soon. So that is where we are. That is how we got here tonight. I don't want to be up here with a loud voice and a red face like I normally am, but this needs to move forward. The process needs to be presented to both boards on a joint department, and the voices need to be heard from the trustees and the supervisors in the same room at the same time to discuss where we are at. I have spent many hours with Chief O'Neill. I've spent many hours with Chair Zaklinski. I know they've spent many hours together. The three of us have the best interest of this community in our vision. Now, we both need to be stewards to our taxpayers, both Chair Zaklinski and myself and all of you. We need to have a conversation about what we want to spend when it comes to policing, and that also will kind of dictate and narrate that conversation. I think it's important that all of you tonight, I'm not going to push or prod, but I think it's important the individuals here that made the time to be here and the individuals at home that are listening have a moment to hear how each one of you feel. We don't have to go into a long diatribe. We can if you want, but I think everybody should hear just a brief synopsis of where everybody sits here. So that being said, I'm sure I left something out, but with that, I am going to make a motion to extend this contract presented by Chief O'Neill and the Town Chair Zaklinski.
I will second that motion.
All right, hearing a motion and having a second, I would love to open this up for discussion and to hear what everybody has to say. Troy McReynolds, I think you earned the opportunity to speak first.
Thank you. So last week, we had a contract in front of us, and like many other issues that this board has voted on over the years, I went back, I take very detailed notes on every meeting that I attend, both here and at the county. So I had the contract extension, 6-month extension contract in front of me, and went back to my notes from 2025, which that police contract I did support and vote for. Going back through my notes, I had the 2026 extension contract in front of me, and went back again, referenced my notes. At the time, our village administrator gave us a very, what I thought was a detailed explanation of what this police contract would be, and the costs, and some other detailed information. When I started reading line by line through the extension, that did not line up with the notes that I had taken from back in 2025. So my mistake was, I did not put the 2025 and 2026 extension together to look at. If I would have taken the time to go read line by line back in 25, I would have brought up the same exact concerns that I have now. So I own that. Back in 25, I did not go line by line and read through the contract, and I apologize to the trustees and the taxpayers and residents of the village of Waterford that back in 25, I did not do that. Obviously in 26, I did read this contract line by line and had many concerns, which I voiced at the last meeting. In saying that, I have had discussion with Chairman Tim this past weekend. There is a motion and a second on the floor. I will support and vote for this, but do want to be on record that I have the concerns that I mentioned last week. I think we're at a point with policing, and to answer Lori's question, I am still fully supportive of trying to put together a Waterford PD. The process of this exploratory committee that met several times did give recommendations to both boards, but, and I have said it multiple times in other meetings, we have not talked about dollars and cents at all. And before we can get serious about creating that joint police department, we have to know what it's going to cost each community. Until then, it's a great thing to say, let's work together, absolutely. That's what we all want. But it's gotta make sense for both communities and to be fiscally responsible. So, in saying that, again, I am fully supportive. If it makes sense fiscally, I want to work with the town. Always have been, and I've said it multiple times. That's probably been one of the most frustrating things since 2017, sitting on this board, is the inability to work and collaborate with the town. Let's find a way to do it. My raising these questions, I did see a lot of social media comments back and forth. Me raising the issues that I did, I don't think it qualified the statement of me being irresponsible. And I took offense to that. But again, I apologize for in 25 not reading line by line. Again, I would have had the same concerns. But I wanted to get that clarified and on record. So thank you.
Anybody, Pat?
Yeah, I'll just say, I think it's a great idea if the town and village got together on policing. But, there's a huge but. We're asking to come up with a ton of money above and beyond what we have right now. So, without fire and EMS part of this equation, I don't think the village taxpayers can afford it. I wish they could, but we'll see. We have no finances right now, but we gotta look at the big picture here. We can't do it one at a time. We had a border agreement that has never been brought up for vote in the town. So, you see where I'm cut. We need to have the fire and EMS with the police, in my opinion, to go forward. That way it can be fair for both communities. We can't do it one at a time. I've been on this board for 7 years. We've tried to work, we've got nothing together. So right now, we have something we can both work on, right? There's no reason not to have fire and EMS with that at the get-go. So that's where I stand, and I'm supportive of the 6 months extension.
Thank you, Pat. Anybody else have anything up here tonight?
I'd like to just add a few comments. I'm also in support of the contract. Unfortunately, I was out of the country last Monday night when the meeting happened, so I had to call in. And toggling back and forth between Starlink, my phone, and the internet to try to bring up the contract that was in the packet that was redlined is what really flagged concerns for me to have a deeper discussion before we just dove into signing it, because it looked apparent to me that there were some changes being proposed. So knowing the full scope of it now that I'm back in the US and was able to look at it on my computer and compare notes and look back in my files, I'm supportive of the contract extension, but I would like to add that supporting that for 6 more months, we really need to get together and create a solution for a one Waterford Police Department. I echo Pat's sentiment about bringing other life safety into the equation, fire and EMS, but at least the first step for me would be getting a joint police department established, getting those costs outlined, getting all of those things put on paper so we can really take a look at how this is pertaining to equalized value across the town and the village. We have almost the same amount of citizens in both the town and the village. So there is a way. We did talk about this at the Police Exploratory Commission meetings, which I attended as an audience member and added comment where I felt it was needed. So I'd like to see that continue, and I think the joint board between the town and the village needs to happen sooner rather than later, so we can start to lay out the framework and move forward with that. I kind of misunderstood the mission of the Police Exploratory Committee. Only basically learned through sitting in on those meetings it was to establish a police commission and not really establish a police department. The commission would lead to the department, and I understand statutorily that might be steps 1 and 2. But I feel like we're a small enough community where we can dive right into the issue and create a joint police department and keep local policing in Waterford.
Thank you, Bob. Anybody else this evening?
I don't have a lot to add. I would echo the comments of my trustees here. I would be in supportive of the 6-month extension here. It's the same contract we've had. Nothing's really changing. I think, you know, Trustee McReynolds brings up some valid concerns that need to be ironed out. And I think it's, you know, the two municipalities need to come together and find a common solution here to move everything forward.
Right.
I would echo that. Definitely approve this contract and just excited to work with the town and move forward for what's next after the 6 months.
All right.
I concur. Anxious to work with the town, anxious to get some numbers so we can actually see, you know, what this is gonna look like going forward for all of our residents, both town and village. Echo what Pat says, it's been my dream to work on fire EMS jointly with the town and possibly in Rochester. So anxious to get started and look forward to another meeting. And I will approve this contract for 6-month extension.
All right, I appreciate everybody's honest input on the matter. Again, there is a motion and a second. I want to make sure my motion is crystal clear to this board and to everybody out there. My motion is to extend the 6-month contract, the current contract that we have, the same exact contract that we have, for another 6 months. It is in front of you. It has no red lines on it. It has no other anything on it. That is my motion. And there was a second. There was discussion. I am now going to take a roll call vote. Nash.
Aye.
Polhammer.
Aye.
Polnell.
Aye.
Jaskey. Aye. McReynolds.
Aye.
Dunham.
Aye.
Todrick.
Aye.
Motion carries with unanimous votes. Okay. Before we move on to adjourn